this week I'm going to be reading the Wicked Villain series by Katee Robert. My big old box of books is here. I just don't think I like thruples. It's around 10 p.m. and I need to finish this before midnight and start The Beast. Otherwise I have to read to Hanu. So I'm gonna give you my thoughts on A Worthy Opponent and then I'm gonna serve you some tea. Hello and welcome. I hope your Monday went well. Today I am packing orders. So we have stack I've done here. There's also like right behind me, there's another stack I've done there. And I thought I would take a break because I'm getting bored. How many do I have left? I have 13 left to go, so not too bad, but I do have to edit last week's vlog when I'm done here as well. But I just thought I would take a break and get this show on the road. So it is the last 4 days of the Bookathon and the Magical Readathon. I have 3 Bookathon books that I need to read. I need to have at least started the last one by the end of the month, and only one of those books is Magical Readathon, which is fine because I've already completed 5 prompts plus 2 character prompts for the Magical Readathon. I just have to get my last character prompt in and then I've done enough because my character's set up for April and you only need to complete 2 prompts on the path to pass the readathon. However, for my own readathon, I'm not doing so well. So this week is going to be the next installment in my I read insert series here in a week series that we've got going on, and this week I'm going to be reading the Wicked Villain series by Katee Robert. So I currently only have 3 here. These are the 3 on my September TBR, and I have 2 on their way to me that are the 2 that are on my October TBR. I think they're being delivered today and I'm really excited because there's another book in there that's on my October TBR that I'm really excited to get to. But I have already read the first book in this series. I wanted to make this video anyway because I know some of you guys are really excited on my thoughts on this series, and I'm just hoping that because it's so much romance back to back that I don't kind of lose steam throughout this week and get bored while I'm reading them, just because it is going to be like erotica back to back to back. That being said, sometimes we like that. So I guess we'll get started by recapping my thoughts on Desperate Measures, which is the first book in this series. I should have brought it through. I'm just gonna go get that. So this entire series is a series of Disney retellings, but where the hero or heroine falls in love with the villain instead of their love interest. Although we do have a couple of these that are thruples or poly relationships that do include like the hero slash heroine, their love interest, and the villain as well, I think. But Desperate Measures is the first book. This one is an Aladdin retelling and we are following Jasmine and Jafar. All of these are contemporary as well. They're set in a fictional city called Carver City, and instead of the villains being like magical sorcerers and stuff like Jafar in here is like a crime lord. He's a territory boss, but he's actually second in command to Jasmine's father, and this book starts off where he seized Jasmine's father's territory and all of his property, and in doing so he also seizes Jasmine. So they're all BDSM as well. They're all BDSM erotica, and this one in particular is a enemies to lovers and also features consensual non-consent roleplay. So this one is a super short book. They're all pretty short. I don't think there's one that's more than 300 pages, but this one is 213. And normally when I read erotica like this, I kind of criticize it because it doesn't really have a cohesive plot. It's just smut for the sake of smut, which is fine, but not my personal preference. I like a little bit of something tying the story together, and considering this has like daddy roleplay in it as well, which I really don't like. I adored the smut in here. This is the best smut that I've ever read, and I think it had enough of a cohesive plot to tie it all together, and I gave this one 5 stars. Book 2 in the series is the one that I'm going to be starting tonight, which is Learn My Lesson, and this one is a thruple. I think it is a, yes, it's a Hercules retelling, and this one is Hades, Megara, and also Hercules as well. This one I'm going to be using for the Magical Readathon for the character prompt, which is urban or wildling. I'm going urban, and the prompt for that is to read a book set in a city, which this is in Carver City. And for the Bookathon, this one is on my TBR. I think it's on there for gods. And this one was a gift from the lovely Hannah Jo as well, so thank you very much to Hannah Jo for gifting this to me. We then have book 3, A Worthy Opponent. This one is a Peter Pan retelling, and I think it's Tinkerbell and Hook. And this one, let's see what it's on my TBR for, because I actually have no recollection of this one. This one is on my TBR to read a hyped book. And then the final one we have that's on my September TBR is The Beast, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I think it's the Beast, Gaston and Belle, and I'm not sure whether it's going to be like a throuple or a love triangle situation. And this one is on my Bookable and TBR for the prompt Myth, Lore and Legend, I think, because this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which was originally published in French as La Belle et la Bête, as French folklore or like a French fairy tale, and La Belle et la Bête was actually inspired by, I think it's Cupid and Psyche, which is obviously mythology. And then these two were gifts from the wonderful Lamia, who is always influencing all of these smutty decisions that we're making over in my Patreon Discord. So thank you very much, Lamia, for sending these my way. So these three we're going to be starting off with. I will show you guys the final two in this series when they arrive, but I'm gonna get back to my candle orders now because it is 12:29 p.m. I need to break for lunch soon. I kind of wanted these done before I did that though, so that I can move on to another part of my day, because I don't like doing multiple things. Like, I don't like moving from one big intensive task to another drastically different big intensive task, which will be my vlog editing. And I'm currently watching Catherine Carris's most recent vlog.
It gained its independence from the British, from England. It was a British colony, and so therefore that is why I speak English.
Big old box of books is here. I'm very excited. So let's see what we got. You already know what two of them are. In fact, if you've watched my TBR, you know what all of them are. We have the two Wicked Villains books that I need. So this one is a sapphic retelling of Little Mermaid, and this one is between Ursula and Ariel, I believe. And the final one, I haven't heard great things about this one. This one's Queen Takes Rose, and I believe this is Sleeping Beauty. Is it Sleeping Beauty? See if I can find out. I think it's Sleeping Beauty. I'm obviously gonna find out before the end of this vlog. And this one sounds like it's going to be sapphic as well, but I also believe that this one is mainly a setup for the Able series. What is that series called? The first book's called Able, and I'm actually really excited to read that. I was going to move on to Neon Gods when I'd finish Wicked Villains, but I think I may actually want to move on to the other series, Sabine Valley. I think that this book has a lot of setup for Sabine Valley in it. So those are my other two books for this week, which is looking like, I mean, they're all short, but there's a good hefty stack of them here. And the last book in here I am so excited to be reading next month, and that is The Atlas 6 by Olivier Blake, or Olivier Blake. And this one is like a magical dark academia series, so like fantasy dark academia, where there is this like prestigious society called the Alexandrian Society, and 6 people have been chosen to complete the tasks to get them into the Alexandrian Society. And I'm really excited about this. I've heard some great things about it. It's shorter than I thought it was. It's only 380 pages, but it's absolutely beautiful. And is it indie or is it self-published? I can't remember. Olivier Blake actually has quite a few books out that I did not know. This one's published by, oh, it's self-published, but there's illustrations in it. There is. Wow, I did not know that. That is my little book haul for the day. Lots of indie books, which you guys know I'm a big supporter of the indie pub world. And I'm gonna go and continue to edit this vlog because I'm currently only 4 minutes and 47 seconds into it. Hello. So I got a new clothing order in from Boohoo, and I'm obsessed. I am obsessed with this look. I will say that the top is actually a bodysuit, and I haven't worn anything that resembles a bodysuit since I was like 10 years old, and getting pop studs fastened around that area was not a good time. It took me quite a while to get into this. The skirt as well is a little bit on the thin side, but it works with the outfit. And then the shirt is a corduroy jacket, and yes, I am obsessed. And I'm going to live all of my fall fantasies in this outfit and this outfit only. So I've made a terrible mistake. I am about to film Bookopoly. Well, I'm not. That is my mistake. My fangs haven't arrived yet. And to be fair, when they arrive, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get them in and speak with them to make a video, but I'm waiting for them. Earlier this afternoon I was like, well, I can't even do my makeup yet because I'm gonna have to answer the door. Like, Curtis has gone out, so I'm gonna have to answer the door dressed like a demon if I do my makeup. And then I was like, oh well, I can do my base makeup and add like the veins and stuff afterwards. And I got carried away, so now I have to answer the door like this whenever my fangs arrive. This is my spooky season look. My hair is not going to stay like this. I'm not putting the horns on. I'm not putting the horns on until the fangs arrive, because I think opening the door dressed like this, especially because I'm wearing leggings underneath my dress as well, I'm gonna try and wind some of my hair around the band of the horns, so I don't want to secure the horns to the point where they're not coming off and then have the fangs arrive. So yeah, I'm just gonna sit and wait for a bit and hope that they turn up soon. Do sprints. There's like 3.5 minutes left in this one, but my rug just arrived. I do have knee corners weighted down and it needs straightening up a bit, but the hallway, apart from like some decoration and stuff, is now just about done and I'm happy about it. Also, my fairy loot arrived today. I'm not sure when I'm unboxing that, but it's here. Okay, so I'm finally ready to give you guys a reading update on, just checking out it's muted, on Learn My Lesson by Katee Robert. I'm at the halfway point now. I'm 126 pages into it and I'm enjoying this one, but I don't think I'm enjoying it as much as Desperate Measures at the moment. In this universe in Carver City, Hades is a territory boss, but he owns like the neutral territory in the city where everyone can like gather and have fun without worrying about like people trying to murder them and stuff. And he is essentially the king of the underworld, which is his club, and Megara is the queen. He's the dom and Meg is a switch, and they've always been close, but they've been drifting apart recently. So this goes a little bit into Hades' past, because Hades, like you guys may know, that Katee Roberts has another series called Neon Gods, which is about, I think they're all going to be Greek gods, and the city that is set in is Olympus. And as you can gather, Hades has ties to Olympus, so when he spots Hercules, who also has ties to Olympus, in his club, he sends Meg to sleep with him. And then Hercules, after he finds out that Meg is like owned by Hades, decides to be a hero and offers himself in exchange for her. So Hades says, fine, Meg can have her freedom if she wants it, but the thing is, Meg doesn't want her freedom. She's quite happy being the queen of the underworld. So Hercules starts to get immersed in this world. Meg is trying to puzzle out Hades because they've been growing distant and she's feeling dissatisfied. And I feel like the aim of this one is going to be that like Hercules is going to complete their relationship and they're gonna have like a poly relationship essentially. It is an MMF relationship, so that is like relations between Meg and Hercules, Meg and Hades, and also Hades and Hercules. And so far I'm enjoying it enough. I just don't think that I like thruples. I don't think thruples are for me. The smut in here is still good. I still love Katee Roberts' smut. I'm just not into it as much because I just don't think I like thruples, which I don't like Daddy Kink either, but I liked the kind of, well, that one was consensual non-consent, Desperate Measures, but also I really liked the dynamic that Jasmine and Jafar had. The only thing that put me off that was literally that she kept calling him daddy. And this one, I'm just not, it's not 100%, you know, like I'm 80% into the smut, but I'm not like 100% there. We do also have multiple plot threads in here, which I like, because I like with Katee Roberts books that like there is actually a plot. It's not the most complicated thing, but it's cohesive. It's engaging enough to go alongside the smut without this just being like endless smutty scenes back to back, although there is definitely plenty of smut in here. And we have the plot threads of Meg and how she's growing apart from Hades. We have Hercules' past and why he's no longer longer in Olympus. And we also have the reason why Hades selected Hercules specifically and what went down with him in Olympus as well. But my goal for the day, we're currently in the Bookathon burnout, so I'm doing all day sprints. We're at 3:30 p.m. now, so still got plenty of time to go. And my aim first off is going to be to finish this book, and then after that I want to make it at least halfway through Worthy Opponent for today, but ideally get a little bit further in that, because I filmed Bookopoly yesterday and my punishment for not completing my TBR, if I don't at least start The Beast by tomorrow, is going to be to read one of the Earthsea books, and to be honest, would really rather not. So I'm gonna push to make it so that I don't have to take that Bookopoly punishment. Okay, so we are much later in the day now. It is 20 to 10. I have just started A Worthy Opponent. I'm up to chapter 3, which is 18 pages in, but that means that I finished Learn My Lesson, and I gave this one 3 stars. I just didn't love it as much as Desperate Measures, and I'm really surprised about that. I think it might just be because it's a throuple, and I felt like the plot in here, while I liked that it had multiple threads in terms of it having multiple characters involved in the plot, the actual wrap-up of the plot happened in the last 2 chapters, so like the last 20-ish pages, and that is where all of like the actual conflict happened. So I feel like that was just a little bit too quick, and then the book kind of just ended directly after it. I really like Megara as a character, and I just feel like I struggled to get a grasp on Hades. Like, Hades wasn't particularly attractive to me, and Hercules was just like, okay. The smut is still good in terms of the writing of the smut, but I am guessing it's just because it was a throuple, and I'm guessing I don't like throuples, sadly, which is sad actually, because I feel like that's going to be a recurring theme in this. And I think The Beast, which a lot of people say is their favorite book, is also a throuple, but I will be reading that soon, so we'll find out for sure, I guess, whether I like throuples, because if I don't like The Beast, then I'm guessing that they're just not for me. I also think something that I didn't like about this as much is that it solely takes place in Hades' club. So the first one with Jafar and Jasmine takes place mainly in Jasmine's familial home, because Jafar's just taken it over, and they are in the club occasionally, but it doesn't solely take place there. This one was very isolated, and I think I liked the changes of setting a little bit in Desperate Measures more than I enjoyed all of this being contained within the club. But that is now my magical readathon TBR complete, because I was using this for the urban prompt for the characters, which is a book set in a city, and for Bookathon this one was to read a book that featured gods. So that's all done, and I'm now moving on to A Worthy Opponent. I'm only 18 pages into this, but this one is a Peter Pan retelling with Hook and Tinkerbell, and Tinkerbell was taken on to work at the club by Hades 5 years ago, and her contract is a couple of days away from being at an end. So it's cool how they tie together, because in this one she has 2 months left, and now that we're onto her book, she only has 2 days left. And the reason that she ended up in Hades' employ is because she was in an abusive relationship with Peter, who is one of the territory bosses, and it seems like Peter now has a new woman, who I'm going to assume is going to be Wendy, and Tinkerbell feels awful about this. She wants to help Wendy out, and with her contract with Hades coming to a close, Hook has approached her and asked her to marry him, and in exchange for that, Hook will try and kill Peter. So I don't really have much of a read yet of how I'm enjoying this one, with only being 2 chapters in, but fingers crossed I like it a little bit more than Learn My Lesson. We're still in the burnout. I'm close to burning out. I've only actually read 230 pages today, so not even like an incredible amount considering we've been live for 9 hours and 45 minutes, but I did obviously like eat, stretch my legs and stuff within all of these sprints as well, and we currently have 35 minutes left on the current sprint that we're doing, and then we will be doing one final one after this. So I'm hoping to make a little bit of progress in this. Not sure if I'm going to get to the halfway point like I wanted to, but any progress is better than no progress. So I'm pretty much about to go to bed. It is 11:40 p.m. We sprinted, we did sprints for 11 hours and 40 minutes, but I'm currently 85 pages into this one, so I've read 295 pages today, which ain't half bad. I'm enjoying this one a little bit more. I'm enjoying the tension between Hook and Tink. She absolutely does not trust him, and he kind of wants to eradicate Peter and knows that marrying Tink will kind of antagonize, no, antagonize is the right word, isn't it? Aggravate. He knows that being married to Tink is going to aggravate Peter, which is one of the reasons why he did it, but also he really likes her. So this one is like I don't know whether it's more of a forced marriage or a marriage of convenience, but we definitely have the marriage trope in here. I have to say it's helping that I'm picturing Hook as Orlando Bloom. It's really doing it for me. And I just finished during the sprints like halfway through a chapter, so I'm gonna go to bed, take my makeup off and finish my chapter. We are going out tomorrow. I believe we're going to Harrogate, so I have to be up early and I don't know how much reading I'm gonna get done, but I would like to definitely finish this book tomorrow.
I want you to feel my breath on your cheek.
So I am on a little bit of a time crunch. It's around 10 p.m. and I have 90-ish pages, 83 maybe pages of this book left. And I need to finish this before midnight and start The Beast. Otherwise I have to read Tahanu. I really don't want to. But I just wanted to come in and say that this is really fucking hot. Like Tink and Hook. I love it. I love this one. So like Tink has trust issues, content warning in here for an abusive relationship. Most of it happens off the page, but Tink is still very much affected by it. And the plot with Peter, who was the abusive boyfriend, is still ongoing in this because he is encroaching on Hook's territory. So this marriage they have, Tink agrees to so that Hook will go after Peter and get rid of him for good. But Tink obviously has trust issues. She doesn't like to feel trapped and she's constantly kind of living in fear because she no longer has Hades' protection, and Hook was around at the time when Peter was abusing her, even though Hook was never directly involved and was never one of Peter's men and actually did try to help her. So Tink has issues trusting Hook and she wants to keep him at arm's length. But Hook, not only is he super hot, he's incredibly sweet and incredibly patient and he knows what she wants. He's like, I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I just thought I would come give you an update on that. The next time I speak to you, I will have finished this, but I'm probably gonna finish this and then read a chapter of The Beast. But I'm firmly in it. I don't have to take a punishment, and then I'll let you know what I thought of A Worthy Opponent. So I did it. It's a little bit after midnight, but when we do these things, we only count the day ended when I go to sleep, and I'm not asleep yet. But I have finished A Worthy Opponent by Katee Robert. I don't have a rating on this yet because I need to go get my laptop to compile everything. And I'm now 10 pages into The Beast. I read a chapter, so no punishment for me. The Bookathon is over. I don't know how many books I read. I read 8 books that counted for Bookathon, I think. Yeah, I read 8. I'm sure I did because I haven't finished this one, so it doesn't count towards like the readathon starts. But the readathon is over. September went real quickly, but I had a great time and I hope you guys did too. We are now moving into October and Gothtober. I'm gonna go get my laptop so I can do my spreadsheet because I love filling in my stats. Like normally I would just leave it until a later time, but I love stats and stuff. So filling in my spreadsheet is one thing that I do not procrastinate on. So I'm gonna go do that, and then I need to prep my overnight oats for tomorrow morning and get into bed because I am so tired. I'm so tired. But I just really did not want to read Tahanu next month, so I'm glad that I stayed up and persevered. So we have some very spooky lighting right now, just because I needed some lighting to talk to you guys, and I've literally just turned the lights off because your girl is about to watch Midnight Mass. But I just thought I would let you know it's quite late now. It's like 9:30 p.m. and I haven't updated you today, and I don't know if you can tell from the way that I'm speaking right now, but let's see. Oh shit, I turned the torch off. Hello again. Let's see if you can hear my chest right now. I have asthma. I've always had asthma, but it's allergic asthma and it's triggered. I'm allergic to dust, and people always laugh at me, but I'm allergic to dust. And when we were out yesterday, we went into a bookshop, and it was a beautiful bookshop, you know, like floor to ceiling books, like a crammed maze of rooms full of books. Wonderful, wonderful place to be. But it was also dusty as fuck. So we left that shop. I have been wheezing, and I have been taking my inhaler, but normally when something like this happens, I have to wheeze for a few days. So I'm a little bit short of breath right now, which is why I haven't done an update, because it takes me too long and I get too frustrated when I'm trying to film and my asthma's playing up. It only happens like twice a year. I have a few wheezy days, and I do have inhalers, but I also kind of have to ride it out. Like the wheeziness will keep coming back for a couple of days while I'm feeling like this. So I'm gonna watch Midnight Mass now. Books mean nothing to me today. I've read like 40 pages of The Beast. I'm on page 46, but I do need to film tomorrow. I need to film my wrap up. I'm just gonna like sit here upright and breathe deeply and hope that I'm able to breathe a little better in the morning so that I can film. And when I'm doing that, I will also bring you guys an update on what I thought of Worthy Opponent. Okay, you all ready for the tea? My chest is a lot better today. I was a bit wheezy when I woke up, and now I am pretty much fine. I wouldn't say I'm 100%, I'm like 95% though, so like not even feeling, no wheeze, all good, can speak. So I'm gonna give you my thoughts on A Worthy Opponent, and then I'm gonna serve you some tea, and I hope you're ready. So A Worthy Opponent, I enjoyed this one. I really liked the relationship between Tink and Hook in here. I liked that it was a one-on-one relationship. There was like a bit of an orgy scene in here, which I did enjoy, but this is like the thing. I don't mind like orgy scenes or like three-way scenes in terms of like the erotic content, but when it comes to a romance, I just prefer my romance to be like one-on-one. So I enjoyed this one a lot more than I enjoyed Learn My Lesson. I gave this one 4 stars. I really liked Hook as a love interest, and Tink I did like. I wouldn't say that I liked her as much as Meg. I think I prefer Meg as a main female character. I liked that we had this backstory of Tink having been in an abusive relationship previously. It does play a part in the plot in here, although there's no like flashback scenes or anything like that, but an abusive relationship does play a part in the story. But I liked that we had that extra element of plot. I thought that the plot in here was actually good and well paced throughout the book, similar as with Desperate Measures, and I think that is another reason why I enjoyed this one significantly more. And while it did conclude in the last few chapters of this book, so it wasn't like super drawn out, I think that the pacing of the plot was done well. And like, I know that these books aren't supposed to, you're not here for the plot, you're here for the smut, because that's what these are. They're more like erotica than a standard romance, but I do need the little bit of plot, and I need, like we've talked about this before, like I prefer sexual tension in books to the actual sex, and that has to be there. And this one had a little bit, it wasn't like the smut in the first, like the early chapters of all of these books, but there was more of like a gradual development throughout this that I really appreciated. Here's the tea. I don't want to read the Wicked Villains books anymore, and my memory card is full. Okay, that's better. But essentially, like the second or first clip of this vlog, I said that my only concern when doing this video is that I would get burned out real quick on reading erotic romance, because especially as we've just discussed, they don't have a whole ton of plot, and I'm not in the mood for smut right now. I'm not even really in the mood for romance. I want to read a fantasy and some spooky shit. And we have a big problem here, because me, stupidly, when I was only about 40 pages pages into Learn My Lesson, I filmed my October Bookoffly TBR and I put the last 2 books in the series on my TBR, which, I mean, I was asking for trouble, wasn't I? So I have a couple of options. I could either just suck it up and continue reading the books, or I could not. And I could finish The Beast. I'm definitely committed to finishing The Beast. Well, I say that, like, I will finish The Beast because I've started it. I'm 54 pages into it. And then replace the books on my Bookopoly TBR. And I think that that is what I'm going to do, which is unprecedented, I know, and I shouldn't really be doing it because they're on my Bookopoly TBR, but we're only in the 2nd of the month, so it's not like I've just gone halfway through the month and noped my way out. And as well as that, I'm actually making it more difficult for myself by doing this, because if I left the Wicked Villains books on, then they would have been done within the first week of October, and in their place I'm actually going to be adding significantly chunkier books than the next 2 books in the Wicked Villains series. So we're swapping them out. I guess we'll see how it goes. The thing is as well with the Wicked Villain series, I do really like this series. I'm forcing myself to power through them now when they're kind of repetitive, which I knew they would be, but they're kind of repetitive in that their purpose is to be erotic and there's not much plot there, and I don't want to impact my enjoyment. And I know that if I force myself through the next 2 books just for the sake of this video, I will just be hate reading by the end of it because I'm just not in the mood for these books. So we're going to swap out my 2 prompts that they were filling on my Bookopoly TBR. The prompt that See Which was in for was a contemporary, and for that one I'm swapping it out for The Murder of Graham Catton by Katie Lowe. This is the author of The Furies, which is a thriller that I absolutely adored. And this is a very different kind of thriller from Katie Lowe, but it is her sophomore novel. And I'm hoping that because I loved The Furies, even though it is very different plot-wise, that I'm also going to enjoy this. I can see someone's silhouette bouncing off my window and it's creeping me out a little bit. But this one is an adult thriller about a woman whose husband was murdered, and did they convict the wrong person? Yes, the murderer was convicted and the case was closed. However, a podcast called Conviction has started to investigate the crime, and they are focusing on the man who was murdered's wife. So I'm really excited to read this one, and my TBR was missing a thriller actually when I was trying to decide what to put in for the contemporary prompt. I don't have any contemporary horror, I don't think. So thriller was next up, and I'm glad that I have one on my TBR. I could actually, like, I'm in the mood for thrillers right now. I'm in the mood for anything apart from the Wicked Villain series right now, which sucks because, like I said, I do actually really enjoy them. And then the other prompt is most recent purchase. Now you'd think that that would be from this stack, but I actually received my Abraxas box today, and if you saw my wrap up you will know that that video was sponsored by Book of the Month. So I have a big old box of Book of the Month books that I opened for the sponsorship for the wrap up, and these are amongst the most recent things. The Abraxas book doesn't feel very autumnal to me, like it's witchy and stuff, but it also has like a bright pastel cover. And there is a book from the October Book of the Month books that if I don't read it in October or an October, then it's not going to get read because it has very spooky season vibes. I feel like you can only read this book in spooky season. I also did get these 2 thrillers though. So we have Apples Never Fall. Oh my god, I'm dropping this box. Apples Never Fall by Liam Moriarty, which is a family drama about a family whose matriarch goes missing, which does sound interesting. And Everything We Didn't Say by Nicole Bart, so they were definitely contenders. But I think, even though I just said I don't want to read romance, I truly believe that if this does not go on an October TBR, then it's not getting read. And that is The X by Erin Sterling. And oh, by the way, if you would like to get your first Book of the Month box for yourself for $9.99, it only ships to the US, click on the link at the top of my description box and enter the code BOO. But this is the one that I would have picked from the October selection if I was choosing Book of the Month for myself. And this one is a kind of quirky, witchy rom-com style book. It's giving me massive Bewitched vibes from the cover, and it's about a woman who's going through a bad breakup and she curses her ex, and she does it haphazardly when she's drunk, so she doesn't really think anything of it until her ex comes back and And the end of the synopsis says, suddenly Graves Glen is under attack from murderous wind-up toys, a pissed off ghost and a talking cat with some interesting things to say. Vivi and Reese have to ignore their off the charts chemistry to work together to save the town and find a way to break the breakup curse before it's too late. So it sounds like a really fun, spooky rom-com. So these are going on my TBR in place of the 2 Wicked Villains books. I've just finished editing my wrap-up. Need to make a thumbnail and sort that out. And then I'm gonna try and beast through the beast and maybe get this done tonight, because I'm feeling rejuvenated again. Just putting these on my TBR has made me really happy. So I'm sorry, because I know a lot of you guys are really excited. I've been teasing this vlog for a while. You're excited for me to binge my way through this series, but I just don't want to force it, you know, because you're just gonna get me being grumpy, and that's just not a good vibe. Nobody wants that. So it's pretty early on Sunday morning. It's not too early anymore, it's 10:10. But I woke up before my alarm. My alarm goes off at 8:30. I do normally adjust it to 9:30 on the weekends, but I had the Buffy watch along last night. I thought it was tonight, but it was actually last night. So I ended up reading not a single page last night. And when I went to bed afterwards at 11:45, intending to read some of the Beast, Curtis was already going to sleep. So I just decided to go to sleep as well, which resulted in me waking up naturally at like 8:05. So I had my breakfast and now I'm doing dice sprints by myself. And I've been pretty close to burnout recently, which to be fair is always the case with me at this time of year. And this is a look. But around this time of year, I have seasonal stuff going on with candles. I also do readathon stuff candle wise this time of year. It's coming with Christmas, so people start to want to buy things for Christmas. And I also have like just coming off the back of the Bookathon, so I start to get a bit tense and a bit stressed when it gets into October. So I just kind of want some time to myself. I just want to be chill. I really need to optimize resting when I can, because I am always at like 100 miles an hour. But anyway, all that to say, I'm doing some dice sprints by myself, because I say this all the time, I work really well in a sprint kind of setting, even if I'm just by myself, you know, like setting a timer to do something, but I never do it. So I'm taking this opportunity. I have my little resin tray that I bought from Jess's shop last week, and I'm just doing some dice sprints by myself, and then in between every sprint I have a task that I would like to do. So what I'm going to be doing next is proofing my video. I also want to do a bit of sketching today, which is something I don't do very often and haven't really sat down to do properly in years, so it's probably going to be terrible, but it's something I want to do, so I'll do that today as well. But I'm now on page 118 of The Beast, and I gotta say I'm really enjoying it. So this one also has consensual non-consent like the first one does, and essentially Beast and Gaeton, I don't, because it's not Gaston, Gaeton were in a relationship with Belle. I think it was a year prior to the start of this book, and they were both in a relationship with her, and she's a good girl and she's a paragon of all that is good apparently. So they weren't indulging in any kinky stuff with her. They were both in a relationship with her, and eventually it came to a point where she had to choose and she couldn't choose. So I think Gaeton broke up with her, and then she broke up with the Beast, and since then Gaeton and the Beast have absolutely hated each other. So this starts off where Isabel's father has died, and Gaeton and the Beast, who were two of his best generals, have left the territory, and to stop the Sea Witch from encroaching on Belle's, or like what was Belle's father's territory, and trying to claim it for themselves, they need the generals to come back. Belle isn't the oldest sister, it's her older sisters that are in charge of the territory, but obviously she wants to preserve it because it's her home. So she goes looking for the Beast and Gaeton, and they say if she plays as their sub for 2 weeks, and then at the end of the 2 weeks chooses which one of them she actually wants to be with, then they will come back. However, pretty sure this is a throuple. As it's a romance, you kind of guaranteed a happily ever after, and as we're reading from 3 perspectives in here, I'm guessing she's not gonna choose just one of them. But I have to say, everything I've been saying about not enjoying throuples, you can kind of toss it out the window, because I'm really enjoying this book. But at the same time, I also kind of just want the Beast and Gaeton to get together and just to fuck Isabel off. I just like be done with her. I mean, it's fine. The smut is hot. I'm enjoying her being around. So it's not like I don't like her, but the chemistry between the Beast and Gaeton is on point, and I'm really enjoying that a lot more than I'm enjoying like the chemistry that she has with either of them. I haven't really read anything for 2 days as well because of what I was saying about not really being in the mood for romance and all of that, and then what I've just said now about stress and burnout and stuff. So I think the fact that I only read 40 pages on Friday and absolutely nothing yesterday has kind of made me feel a lot more refreshed as well, with these just being kind of repetitive, reading them back to back. So I'm really enjoying it and I'm excited to continue. So I'm going to get on with my mid-sprint activity and then get back into this, and we will see how it plays out. This one's one of the long ones. It's 270 pages, 269 pages. So I still have 151 pages to go, but I'm feeling pretty optimistic about it. Hey, so it is Monday now, but I did go to bed pretty early again last night, and then woke up before my alarm again at 8:15 this morning. So I was just super tired last night. I did have a really good day though. I spent most of my day reading and sketching. I got my workout in. I watched the second of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans with Curtis because he's trying to rewatch them all before the one in December is released. So I watched that while I was doing some sketching, and I also finished The Beast, but by the time Spider-Man was over, I was honestly just like so done and wanted to go to bed. So I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I definitely understand why people think that this is the best in the series. In terms of my ratings, I still given Desperate Measures 5 stars, but as we've discussed, the reason why this vlog is ending here is because I'm not in the mood to read smut. So it is possible that if I was really wanting to read this book and I picked it up, I would have given it 5 stars, which is essentially why we're ending this vlog here, because the fact that I'm not in the mood for this type of book right now is really affecting my enjoyment and my ability to rate them fairly. I will say that in terms of all of the relationships and love interests that we've had so far, this has my favorite set of characters, but mainly because the chemistry between the Beast and Gaeton is like on point. So you go into the story and essentially they both already dated Isabel in the past and they were both in love with her, so we already have that established relationship there. And I think, as we've discussed before, I enjoy the sexual tension a lot in romance. I think that because that was an already established relationship, I wasn't quite feeling as much chemistry between the two male main characters and Belle, but because they hate each other because they were both in love with Belle, I loved their relationship and the chemistry between them and the way that everything developed in this book. So definitely the hottest one I've read so far. In comparison to Desperate Measures, it's hard for me to compare them directly because I read Desperate Measures so long ago, but I think in terms of a relationship building, it was the same kind of thing in Desperate Measures where they didn't like each other all that much and it was actually a progression of a relationship. And you also kind of have that in A Worthy Opponent as well, whereas in Learn My Lesson, which is the least favorite one that I've read so far, Hades and Meg are already in an established relationship and Hercules is coming into that, and I did really like the relationship between him and Meg in that book, but I just didn't really get on with Hades, and I think that's why this one works for me more, even though it is a throuple, and I don't think I love throuples. This was fire and would definitely recommend. In terms of the series as a whole, I mean, I know I didn't finish it, but I would definitely say that if you are looking for erotic romance and you don't mind things like BDSM, because obviously that isn't for everyone, and we have a range of like kinks and tropes represented in these books. So you have like your enemies to lovers, we have consensual non-consent, there's thruples, there's orgies, there's also things explored like bondage in here as well. So I think a lot of your enjoyment with any kind of romance book like this will be very dependent on whether you like the particular tropes and stuff at play in here. But I do still stand by Katee Robert writing really good smut, but I would also definitely advise don't read them all back to back unless you are somebody who reads, I was gonna say unless you are somebody who reads a lot of romance and erotica, and that is pretty much the majority of what you read, and you can read things like this back to back. But then if that is you, then I would be very surprised if you hadn't already read this series. But yeah, if you're more of a casual romance reader, if you're new to romance, I definitely would not recommend reading these back to back. They are more porn than plot, although they do have enough plot. This one was pretty well plotted as well, aside from the last couple of chapters, which is set up for the Sea Witch. But I think they have enough plot for the most part to kind of tie everything together and it be a concise novel, unlike like Den of Vipers that I read, which goes on like 70 pages past the end of the plot, and it doesn't really have much plot anyway. That was my Desperate Measures reading vlog. I did have a good time, and I'm glad I read what I read, and I only have 2 more books left in this series now, and you can definitely expect me to be continuing. Maybe not this year, because I have just read so many of them back to back, but at some point in the future I will definitely be continuing and finishing this series out, and then also picking up the Olympus and the Sabine Valley books from Katee Robert as well, because I'm also interested in those. But I do hope you guys have enjoyed this vlog if you've made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.